Welcome back, Hawkeye and college football fans alike, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the only channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. It's great to be back with you here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And here we are. I'm trying to hide my excitement, my anticipation, also yet my nervousness. Here we are 3 days away from an epic, seismic matchup, Saturday, 2:30 Central Time, when number 9 Oregon travels to number 20 Iowa to take on the Hawkeyes inside Kinnick Stadium. And really, this is a huge matchup for both programs, but for very different reasons. And I will absolutely break those reasons down here for you very shortly during the episode. And once again, it's great to have you back with me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you, sharing my love and passion for all things college football with you each and every week. It's an absolute blessing and a gift that if this is your first time with me here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I always encourage, welcome, and ask for your participation. I want to hear from you, my fellow college football brothers and sisters, all of you fanatics from north, south, east to west, and everywhere in between. And I especially want to hear from you Oregon Duck fans as far as what's your take, what's your opinion on this huge game coming up Saturday between our programs. Please feel free, light up that comment section below, and I promise that I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later via those comments. And if you could do whatever you are willing, able, and capable to do to help the channel grow, I would absolutely appreciate it. So please like, share, rate, subscribe, and absolutely get involved. Light up that comment section below. Exercise your college football voice, and I can't wait to hear from you. Because overall, I want to find more college football fans just like you. All right, so let's go ahead and move into my episode here. Kind of my preview for the Iowa-Oregon game on Saturday. I'm not going to give you my winner. You'll have to wait for that. I will be back later this week during my official Week 11 preview and picks episode. But I wanted to take a little bit of extra time just to dissect and discuss this game with you, because I'm telling you, this is what we've waited for. If you're a Hawkeye fan, this is it. This game means almost everything to you, all right? I've been a loyal Hawkeye fan since I was 8 years old. I'll turn 45 coming up here in January. I've seen a lot of big regular season home games, all right, that really could alter the overall outcome of the season. And it's been quite a while. I'm talking the last time we had a home game of this magnitude, you probably would have to go back to Black Friday 2022, Iowa versus Nebraska. Yours truly was in attendance with my son and my brother. All Iowa had to do that day was to defeat lowly Nebraska. They would make a return trip back to the Big Ten title game representing the Big Ten West, and it just didn't happen. Nebraska was able to upset Iowa that day. So I would say when it comes down to a ranked opponent coming in, you got to go back to the 2021 season. Early in the year, that epic matchup between number 4 Penn State came calling against number 3 Iowa. Iowa was able to pull off the victory that year, but both teams really fell flat. The very next week, Iowa was then embarrassed at home by Purdue, and then they lost later in the year at Wisconsin. I believe that was the year that Penn State, had 4 or 5 losses. So it didn't really hold up, all right? But that's the last time we've had a game of that caliber inside Kinnick Stadium. We thought the Penn State game earlier this year could be that game, but unfortunately we've seen what's happened at Penn State. It definitely has come unraveled, really following that Oregon loss at home during the whiteout earlier in the year for Penn State. But this is it. This is a huge game because not only If Iowa is able to win this game, which we also need to end this streak of 12 straight losses against ranked opponents. I mean, yes, the last 4 or 5 years, we've had some success. We went to the Big Ten title game 2 out of 3 years, but we still couldn't knock off, defeat, or even really compete with the ranked teams in the Big Ten. We just couldn't. So we have got to get that edge. We have got to cement what Kinnick Stadium is known for, or once upon a time what it was known for, the place in November that if you're a ranked team, you absolutely did not want to make the trip to Kinnick, because that is where highly ranked teams go to die. But it's been quite a while, all right? So it's a huge game for Iowa, not just to, and I'm going to say this, to elevate the program. That's what this game means. Now, don't necessarily take that word out of context. I'm not saying that if Iowa is to win this game, that they're now going to be winning or playing for national titles. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it would be an excellent opportunity for Iowa to kind of change the narrative of this current state of our program to show that, why not Iowa? Iowa is worthy. They should be thrown into that mix as far as teams that, hey, should be battling for a potential college football playoff berth each and every year. That's why this is a opportunity to change the narrative, to show that, yes, Iowa does belong in that probably 30 teams that, hey, each and every year we can almost assume they're going to be playing for a playoff berth come November. Because November football, it is upon us, and we know that every game matters. I hate to coin the term, it just means more from the SEC folks, but November football, it just means more, all right? So, and this is also the opportunity to elevate the program, not since probably going back to the 2015 Big Ten title game. Iowa comes into that game ranked number 4, and they lose against number 5 Michigan State in the Big Ten title game. It came down to a goal line stance. Michigan was able to punch it in. They hold on. I think there was 20 seconds left after that. Iowa could not get down the field for a field goal, and Michigan State went to the playoff. So that was the last time that Iowa's had the opportunity to elevate the program to that potential level, because in 15, if they win that game, they're in the college football playoff. And that was the 4-team playoff era. All right. So this is a huge game. All right. And if they happen to win, if they can knock off the Ducks, they will absolutely be in the college football playoff discussion. Iowa right now, make no mistake, is Iowa a college football playoff team right now? Right now, absolutely not. They are not. But if they're able to win, they will absolutely have to be in that conversation and in that picture. All right. So that's why it's a huge game for Iowa. Now, for Oregon, it is just as important, but like I stated, for different reasons. All right. The initial college football playoff rankings came out last night, and Oregon was awarded with the number 9 spot, which I was a little bit surprised, and I think some Oregon fans probably are too. And please, Oregon fans, Hawkeye fans, college football fans in general, light up the comment section below. Please like, share, rate, comment, subscribe. That I think you were probably a little bit surprised as well. I was thinking, in my projection up here, I thought Oregon would be between number 6 to number 8, but falling at number 9 was outside of that. Now, likewise with Iowa, I thought they would be ranked between 22 to maybe 24, but being in the 20 spot, I was pleasantly surprised with that, but I was unpleasantly surprised with Oregon being at 9. So I was wondering to myself, why is that, and what does that really mean for this game? Well, I'll tell you what it means. And Oregon fans, I think a lot of you have kind of come to this conclusion today that this game for you, if it goes awry and you leave Iowa City with an L, you're going to find yourselves having to play your way in and maybe needing a little bit of help to get in to the 12-team playoff. And that's unfortunate. I think this is a very, very talented team. I love me some Coach Dan Lanning. I mean, last year, if you missed it, I did yours truly picked Oregon, your Ducks, to win the national championship. All right, I did. They came up a little bit short. I did pick you guys preseason to defeat Ohio State, as you did up in Autzen, but I did pick Ohio State to return the favor in the Big Ten title game. So I am very high on this program. I think Dan Lanning might be, if not one of the best coaches, not just in all the Big Ten, but in the entire nation. All right. But this is a program that right now, if you lose this game, you are pencil thin as far as your flexibility for that playoff. And the committee right now, I don't think they really value you. But then again, I looked at the schedule. Who have you played? Who have you defeated? And how did you look? And to my surprise, it's crazy how much these two teams, Oregon and Iowa, they mirror each other so much up to this point this season. I mean, they're really a tale of two cities, like Charles Dickens wrote, Paris and London, that these are kind of interchangeable. All right. So that's why this is a huge game for Oregon. It's really a prove it game to all of their opponents, the pundits, that is this team really a viable playoff team? They need to prove it, put up or shut up. I hate to put it that way, but that's why this is a huge game for Oregon. If they lose, they need to take care of business, like I said, but they need a little bit of help. All right. So looking at the schedules of these teams, and right now, just to tell you where the line is, okay? The current line, I just checked before I came on air, it's down to 6.5 points. Oregon is favored on the road, but I believe this game earlier this week opened up at Oregon an 8-point favorite, and that's lower than the preseason total. Back in August, I remember it was Oregon 10.5 before the season kicked off, so that is trending more towards Iowa. And I'm going to talk more about trends here shortly, but I want to wrap up as far as why this is such a huge matchup. All right. So the line is dropping, but still a pretty hefty favorite is Oregon on the road. But when you look at the schedules of Oregon and Iowa, all right, to where one is trying to maintain their college football playoff potential, that's Oregon, while Iowa is trying to get into that conversation to shatter that ceiling. Looking at Oregon's schedule, and this is why I think they were a little bit penalized by the committee last night, is you look at their wins, and maybe the best win that they have, when you look at just talent and brand, is Penn State. And we know that earlier in the year, late September, winning at Penn State when they were number 2 in the nation, and the wideout in double overtime. That's their best win via brand and sex appeal, right? It definitely is. But we know what's happened. They've lost 5 games since then, all right? They've lost 5 in a row since that loss, all right? So their best win on paper, Oregon, probably is Northwestern. I mean, Northwestern has a winning record when everybody else on their schedule that they've defeated does not. I mean, they defeated Wisconsin, Rutgers, Oregon State, Oklahoma State. I mean, none of them have a winning record. Northwestern is their best win. Now, they do have a loss. Now, Iowa and Oregon both have they have several common opponents. I'll get to that here also in a little bit. So just take your time, stay with me. I hope you're having a good time. All right. Please get involved, comment below. That they did lose at home against number 2 Indiana, 30-20. And that Indiana team, there is no shame in that. That is not your grandfather's or great-grandfather's Indiana football squad. To me, I think they are hands down the best team in the nation. So a 10-point loss at home to the Hoosiers, while Iowa lost at home also, but by 5 points. Iowa has they've given Indiana their best game, I mean, without a doubt, and probably will the rest of the season up until the Big Ten title game. I mean, so they both have that common opponent that they lost to at home. Oregon by 10, Iowa by 5. Now, Oregon in that game, they also capitalized off of an Indiana pick 6. And I believe Indiana also missed a field goal that game. So it could have been a little bit worse on the scoreboard, while Iowa was tied 13-13 early in the fourth quarter, actually midway through the fourth quarter, and they missed a potential game-leading field goal, and then Indiana responded by driving and getting a quick touchdown. So Iowa could have taken the lead midway through the fourth quarter. But there's some other common opponents, too, that I'll talk about. So that's it. Their best win, Northwestern, which that's aged all right. At least they're above 500. And when you look at Iowa's schedule, now Oregon has that lone loss, that one loss in conference overall against Indiana, while Iowa has 2. They lost week 2 early in the season, 16-13 on the road in the Cy-Hawk game, rivalry game at Iowa State. And that loss is not looking all that good. Iowa State just lost their 4th straight over the weekend. But still, Mark Gronowski, Iowa's transfer quarterback, was getting used to the system, transferring over from FCS level. I think he is absolutely more comfortable now. So they have that 16-13 loss, basically, which was a walk-off 50-yard field goal by the Cyclones, and then that 5-point loss at home against Indiana. So Iowa's best win, when the same thing, looking at brand, it's probably Penn State as well. So both Oregon and Indiana have a win over Penn State. Iowa ended up coming back and held on to a 1-point victory, a game that myself and my family were at, 25-24. All right. So they do both have a victory over Penn State. All right. But Iowa's wins also over Wisconsin, also over Rutgers. I mean, Iowa's best win is probably Minnesota, who at least has a winning record. I believe they're sitting there at 6-2 right now. So both of these teams have a lot to prove. All right, they do. That's kind of where I'm going with this. All right. And looking forward, all right, and I guess I'll wrap up first the common opponents. All right. And this is where I think when I've watched a lot of Oregon media this week. All right. Podcasts, interviews, and I'm telling you this right now, and I'm not trying to throw shade at your program, at your fan base, your media outlets. Absolutely not. Okay. Because like I said, I respect this program. I mean, you've got it going. I mean, you've got it working up there in Eugene. But here's the thing. I think every Oregon fan and media member that I've listened to or read or watched this week, they all have respect for the Iowa program. All right. And I think all of them know that this is going to be a difficult game on the road. But I think there's a good number who still look at Iowa like, oh, it's Iowa. That's it. We're going to win, no problem. Okay. When right now, when you look at things, there's not a lot of separation here between these two teams right now. All right. And I'll get to that here next after I go through common opponents. So just both of these teams are coming off bye weeks. And 2 weeks ago, at home in Autzen in the rain, Oregon did hold on to beat Wisconsin 21-7. I mean, it was terrible weather, climate. It was raining the entire game. So it's difficult in those conditions to get the passing game going. The run game, that's really what they leaned on. And the Wisconsin defense is okay. They are solid. That's the one thing Wisconsin can hang their hat on this year, but I think they are hands down the worst team in all the Big Ten. So they did win 21-7. Dante Moore, their stud Heisman candidate quarterback, went out in the third quarter. Looks like with a potential broken nose. So that didn't help them, but still, that game was never in the bag, even while he was in there for the 2.5 quarters he was playing. When Iowa played Wisconsin, they went north to Madison in a rivalry game for the Heartland Trophy and absolutely bludgeoned those guys. It was a bloodletting. They clipped their balls, their testicles right off to the tune of 37-0 in Madison. All right? So that's common opponent right there is favors Iowa. Now Rutgers, you guys, Oregon went on the road and put up a 56 burger, I believe, against Rutgers. Yikes, that is impressive for you guys, but yikes for Rutgers. So 56-10, Iowa also won at Rutgers to the score of 38-28. But what Iowa did, and this kind of goes against the narrative that Iowa, we know, sound defense, sound special teams, but they have trouble scoring, points. Their offense is offensively challenged, okay? But in that Rutgers game, Iowa got down 21-7 and had to come back. We're just not used to seeing Iowa teams win games when they have to score points. And this year's squad has proven that, all right? So they're winning in different ways. And in the game against Penn State, kind of the same thing. I mean, Oregon had that game intact for 3.5 quarters. Penn State, they made a late fourth quarter rally to tie it, send it into overtime, and the first overtime, Penn State scored. They had the lead. So just right there, let's say Penn State would have held on for that victory. Think about how different the narrative and everything would have potentially changed this season. I mean, Oregon would be sitting there with 2 losses. You probably would be out of the playoff picture. James Franklin probably wouldn't have gotten fired at Penn State. They're maybe still right there near the top in playoff position. Who knows? So everything changed. But they were able to turn away Penn State in the second overtime and get the dub, all right? But Iowa against Penn State, they were down 11 points in the fourth quarter. And Iowa scored on 3 consecutive possessions to come back, take the lead, and then held on in the last 2 minutes to secure the victory. See, Iowa teams of old that had to score points, we weren't winning that game. All right, so I think a lot of Oregon fans right now are just seeing Iowa as who we normally have been, a defensive juggernaut, a special teams juggernaut, but can they really put up points? Can they ever score more than 20 points? And this is a different squad. I mean, I'll say right now, and some Hawkeye fans, I want to hear what you think about this. This is the best Iowa team that we've seen probably pre-decade of the 2020s. How balanced they are offensively, defensively, and special teams. I mean, I have not been this excited for an Iowa team in a long time. I mean, they might lose this game Saturday. And then maybe they lose at USC. Maybe they go 8-4. And Iowa went 8-4 last season, but with an absolute cupcake schedule. And I've said this during the season here on the channel that if Iowa goes 8-4, hey, they're still a much better team this year than what they were last year, especially with that tougher schedule at Iowa State, at USC, Indiana, Penn State, Oregon at home, and at Nebraska. I mean, it's possible to be a better team even though you have the same record or even a worse record than seasons previous, all right? So this is a good Iowa squad right now that's firing on all cylinders. And I think some Oregon fans are just not necessarily giving Iowa that proper credit where credit is due, all right? So the variables here and the trends, all right? And I'm looking at this from a subjective standpoint. I'm being as biased as I always am. I am not a Homer Simpson, all right? Those of you who've watched me before, you know that. I love me my black and gold. I bleed black and gold. But first and foremost, I'm a college football fan, all right? I usually tend to always lead and pick with this compared to this, all right? So the variables and the trends, everything right now is trending towards Iowa in this game. I already mentioned the line, which is dropping more towards Iowa, but I already shared with you the common opponents, all right? So right there, you're going to say Iowa, they're pretty much punch for punch with us if you're an Oregon fan watching this, all right? And something else that when you look at what Iowa has, I mean, very quietly, I mean, they should have been ranked for the last couple of weeks overall in the AP. I don't know why they weren't. But Iowa's playing their best football of the year. I mean, before their bye week, they absolutely bloodlet Minnesota, another rival for the Floyd of Rosedale Trophy in Iowa City, 41-3. I mean, Iowa is playing red hot right now, okay? And they should have been ranked. But this is what I love about this matchup. The defenses, total defense, very quietly. We all know the Ohio State defense. Everybody in college football knows how good they are. They are elite. But guess who's right behind them? And I'm not saying in the top 10, but number 2 in total defense is our Iowa Hawkeyes, giving up only 235 yards per game. All right. But not far behind them, to be fair and give credit where credit is due, and is Oregon sits there number 4 in total defense, giving up 239 yards per game. So Iowa's defense is playing stellar. All right. They're right there. So that advantage, that's really maybe a wash. All right. But I also look at the offensive line play, and we know that what both of these coaches want to do. Dan Lanning, Kirk Ferentz, they both want to establish the lines of scrimmage. They kind of want to play bully ball, drag you into a phone booth, have that rock fight, and then, hey, we've got the line of scrimmage. Now we're going to set up the play action or the downfield passing, all right? But both offensive lines have only allowed 11 sacks on the year. I mean, they're great with pass protection and opening up those running lanes, but Pro Focus has Iowa one of the best offensive lines in the entire nation. And they have absolutely proven that this year. So I love Iowa's chances on the offensive line. We have a stable of running backs. We got 3 guys who have legit experience. So we're going to have fresh bodies. And that's going to be important for another variable here I'll share with you very shortly. Please like, share, rate, subscribe, comment below. Can't wait to hear from you. And Iowa has the best kick returner in the nation. Caden Weegan, he's taken back 2 punts to the house, and he's taken back 1 kick return, 1 kickoff to the house. I mean, he's that usual guest making house calls. I think he's going to be a huge factor in this game. All right. I also look at the crowd. I look at this Iowa team can rush the ball, but now we also have a running quarterback that you have to account for. Mark Gronowski has 11 rushing touchdowns himself on the season, something Iowa quarterbacks of this decade have not. They've been statues back there and could not move. Spencer Petras, Deacon Hill, Alex Padilla, Cade McNamara, but not Mark Gronowski. This guy is a winner. He's a shaker, he's a gamer, and he can move. He can hurt you with his legs, all right? So I like that trend with Iowa. It's going there. And also, I love the environment. 2:30 kick time, all right? It's going to give the crowd plenty of time to get juiced up, jazzed up. The environment is going to be off the hook. They're going to be nice and lit up. I'm telling you, it's going to be unlike anything Oregon has ever walked into before, all right? The environment, this is their first time coming to Iowa City, I think maybe ever, but I definitely know since they joined the Big Ten Conference. But they have not been into an environment like this. They have not. You won on the road early this year, and that kudos to you. You defeated Penn State in the whiteout, but like I already mentioned, it's November football, baby. It's more, and it's going to be way more emotional. And those fans will be right on top. I expect them to be out of control there in Kinnick Stadium Saturday at 2:30. I mean, it is going to be an absolute snake pit and an absolute ring of fire for the Ducks when they come into Kinnick. And I think they better be ready for that. All right. So I love the kick time, but I also love the weather forecast. All right. I already mentioned that 2 weeks ago, Oregon's last time out, in the constant rain was a little bit slow going. I mean, really had to rely on the ground game. They won 21-7, but I'm checking the updated forecast right now in Iowa City, and I get it, it's still 3 days away. It could change, but every day I've been looking this week, it's getting lower and lower via that temperature. And also, the chance of rain keeps increasing. Right now, it's saying Saturday in Iowa City, a high of 46 degrees, overcast, 84% chance of rain. Showers early, becoming a steady rain late in the day. And that means right there, that absolutely favors Iowa's offense. Both of these teams can run. I mean, Oregon's one of the leaders in the nation in rushing offense, but you know damn well that Oregon relies more upon their pass game than Iowa does. And Dante Moore is going to play. He's probably going to have a visor on or some sort of mask to protect that nose, so might be a little uncomfortable already. But if it's those kind of conditions, that absolutely helps Iowa. There's no doubt about it. All right. So all of these trends are really going towards Iowa right now. All right. And Iowa is healthy. They have no one major. Game changing is going to miss the game. That bye week came at a perfect time. They're healthy and they are ready. I mean, this is it. All right. And if, like I said, Iowa wins, everything is out there for them. All right. So offensive line, health, the environment, the conditions as far as climate. All right. I'm telling you, this is going to be an awesome game either way. This is not going to be some sort of runaway blowout game. All right. Now, who needs this game more? I'm going to go with Oregon. All right, because Oregon right now, their expectation is to get into that playoff. They were ranked preseason top 10, and they've been there throughout this season. So they're feeling the pressure more. They have the higher number in front of them as far as ranking, and they're favored. All right? They're the ones who have more pressure here than Iowa. They're the ones who know we must have this game, or potentially our goals, we're going to come up short. When Iowa is playing with house money right now, we need this game to potentially make our goals and dreams potential in front of us, but Oregon needs to maintain that. They're the ones who need this game more, and especially looking forward at the schedules. It's, once again, crazy how these two teams mirror each other right now. It really is. That Oregon moving forward, after Iowa, they have 3 games left. They host Minnesota. They host ranked number 19 USC. That'll be a tough game. But then they travel to number 23 Washington, their rival. All right? So they have 2 tough games after this Saturday's game versus Iowa. But I'm going to tell you right now that this is the biggest challenge left on Oregon's schedule. I mean, some of you may or may not agree. You might disagree. That's fine. All right. But USC, they're at home. You should win that game against the Trojans up in Autzen. And with Washington, you know you're going to get up for that game. You've experienced going to Seattle. You're familiar with the Washington program going back to your time as rivals and opponents in the Pac-12. All right. So if you're looking past this game, if you're an Oregon fan thinking, yeah, this is going to be a challenge, but that Washington game or that USC game, those are going to be the really difficult ones. Not in my house, like Mutombo would say. This is going to be your biggest challenge. And if Oregon does come out on the wrong end to their fans of this score, it may not work out for the playoff. All right? So they need this game desperately. Now, Iowa, their schedule, very similar. Down the stretch to Oregon. After Oregon Saturday, the very next week, they pack up, travel out west to take on ranked USC in the Coliseum. Then they're home against Michigan State. And then on the road against another rival on Black Friday against Nebraska in Lincoln. So, more than likely, it's always gone terrible in Iowa's history heading west. So even if it works out the way we want it to, us Iowa fans, Saturday against Oregon, it may all be for nothing the very next week. But right now, it doesn't matter. I'm taking this game by game, all right, to where this is going to be a challenge. But I do, and this is no disrespect to Oregon. It's fans, your people, but going to USC is a bigger challenge for Iowa than hosting Oregon. And that's just the truth because of traveling 2 time zones, and historically it's been a house of horrors. There's been no sunshine in Southern California for Iowa. Just doesn't happen, okay? Doesn't. Especially in Cali, but also in Arizona, all right? So that's why this is tough. I mean, there's so much that correlates between these two teams right now. It's awesome, and there's so much to play for. I mean, I am so stoked. I cannot wait to watch this game. It's going to be must-see TV, and I expect it to be an absolute instant classic, all right? Now, who do I think is going to win? As I said, I'm not going to tell you today. I will be back either tomorrow afternoon, Thursday, or Friday morning with my official Week 11 picks episode, but I feel really good about Iowa's chances. I mean, much better than I did weeks ago, months ago. Preseason, I did pick Iowa to lose this game, but I did pick Iowa to upset Penn State, and I thought that was going to be Penn State's lone regular season loss, but hasn't really played out. But this is just everything. Like I said, to end the streak against ranked opponents, to prove we belong in that conversation. Why not us? We're a player nationally. It means everything. And it's going to be completely off the hook. And I love CBS's coverage. I think for me, the best coverage team as far as of all the networks to watch a college football game on. NBC, I think they have the best definition. Their camera clarity is just next level. But other than that, I think CBS is where to watch the game at. All right. But please, I want to hear from all of you, all you college football fans, my fellow black and gold fans, Oregon fans. Let me know what you think. What's your take on this game? Maybe what are the keys to victory? What does your team have to do? What are you most looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? Can't wait to hear from you. And another trend, and this is a big one, okay? Because in these kinds of games, when you're playing teams that have so much in common, right? It comes down to who's going to play cleaner, all right? Both of these teams don't do very well as far as turnover margin. I think they both are sitting there +5. So they don't necessarily take care of the ball greatly. And they also both don't create a lot of turnovers, especially if it's going to be rainy, windy, cold conditions. It's going to come down to the run game, possession, special teams, but also penalties. And guess who is the least penalized team in all of college football? That's right, the Iowa Hawkeyes. There is a lot of things lining up. It's like the stars are aligning here for Iowa to get this done. All right. But I'm not going to tell you who I officially think is going to win. I might stick with my Oregon pick preseason, or I might switch it up and choose the Hawkeyes. You'll have to tune in tomorrow or Friday. So click that notification button so you get what you'll see when the episode's uploaded. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I can't wait to hear from you. So until later this week, thank you for your time, your attention. It is highly appreciated. And my gratitude, Sammy Sosa style. Thank you very much. And please like, share, do anything you can to help the channel grow. So until then, be looking for me. Enjoy the rest of your work week, your school week, and take care of yourself. Be responsible, be safe. And until then, as always, go Hawks, and I'll talk to you soon on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog.